Hello, last one for the day. This is The Gift of Dark Hollow, Podkin 1 Ear. We've just come to the bit where Comfrey has now confronted them and is part of the Gorm army. "You'll pay for that!" Podkin screamed. He felt a fury fiercer than the sun, white-hot, searing anger for Scaramshank, for Gormalek, his master, but also for himself, for not saving Comfrey when he had the chance. He whipped Starclaw from his belt and shook it at the Gorm, feeling the dagger buzz with a rage that matched his own. "Leave the leader," Zarza said to them. "He is mine," and she charged, howling something in a language Podkin had never heard before. "For Herne the Hunter!" Crom yelled and charged as well. "And the goddess!" shouted Mash. "For Munbury!" Podkin heard himself scream, Paz echoing him, and then they were all running down the slope from the tomb towards the Gorm, weapons waving in the moonlight. It was all over very quickly. Zarza made for Scaramshank, but there was instantly a wall of warriors in her way. She wove and danced around their blains, setting poisoned darts flying like hailstones, but couldn't break through. 2 Gorm fell, clutching at their eyes, but a third struck her with a fierce, frantic swipe of its sword. Zarza shrieked and staggered, and then was struck again with a spear. She collapsed, her grey robes puddling around her. Crom hit the wall of a Gorm a second after. He knocked one to the ground and then parried most of the blows that followed. A sword glanced off his armor, then another and another, until finally 5 blades came at once. He blocked 3 of them, but the others pierced his leg and shoulder. Gorm dived on top of him. Then, bearing him down under their weight, Podkin lost sight of him under a mound of spiked iron. Mash didn't even get as far as that. He was readying his blowpipe to shoot when a Gorm warrior charged him from the side, snatching him up by the ears and pulling Sure Strike from his belt. Podkin and Paz stopped running, just a meter or 2 from the enemy. They clutched at each other instead, staring horror at their fallen comrades. Behind them they could hear Puck crying in terror. Thank the goddess that Yarrow had kept their little brother safe. For the moment, at least. "Get them up," ordered Scaramshank. There was a clanking of armor as the Gorm soldiers climbed off Crom. They heaved the injured warrior to his feet, Zarza too, and dragged them over to where Mash was being held. Sure Strike was passed to Scaramshank, who clutched it in an armored paw, chuckling to himself with glee. "Perhaps the most pointless show of bravery I have ever seen," he said, "and I have seen quite a few. Your father, for example. He died almost as quickly as you will." "Don't talk about him!" Podkin shouted. His voice shook with fear. Would it hurt when it happened? Would they suffer much? "Yes," agreed Scaramshank. "Enough talking. Bring me the dagger and the other gifts. Do it now, and I'll make your deaths quick. That's more than you deserve." Podkin looked at Paz. Was there any way out of this? There was no Bridget with her magic this time. There was no bang dust, no secret weapons to save them. He let go of his sister and stepped towards the Gorm. "No," Paz whispered. Podkin hearing Crom grunt from where he was being held tight, arms bent behind his back. "It's all right," Podkin said, sounding brave even though he was shaking in terror. "At least this way it will be quick." "Podkin," Paz pleaded, tears running from her eyes, but he just squeezed her paw and took another step. "Yes," Scaramshank beckoned. "Quickly now, my master wants the gifts. He wants the power." Podkin gave another step. 4 of the sacred gifts given to the enemy in one night. What would that do to the balance? How much stronger would the Gorm become? There must be some way of stopping it happening. But how? There was no part of Scaramshank that wasn't covered in iron now. Even his good foot had been clad in armor. Starclaw was useless against him. That's not your only gift. In a heartbeat, Podkin remembered Moonfire, pinned inside his jerkin, against his fur. He looked up to see the full moon at its zenith, gleaming down on the horrid scene below. Got the picture there, camera lady?
Yep, got it.
Podkin turned the corner of his jerkin back, letting the moonlight shine on the silver, letting the stone drink it in. Scaramshank groaned when he saw it, filled with the need to possess its power. A shadow, Podkin thought. I need a shadow to jump through. He scanned the ground around him and saw nothing. All the shadows were falling to the left, away from him. Could he leap that quickly enough? Could he leap that way quickly enough? He looked at the waiting soldiers. Their spear tips followed his every move, twitching and ready to fly. If he ran for a shadow, he'd never make it in time. Scaramshank was staring at him with those blank red eyes, watching him come closer and closer. When he was within striking distance, the Gorm Lord began to raise his jagged iron sword. He's going to chop me in two, Podkin realized. He doesn't trust me enough to let me hand him Starclaw. He wants to kill me and take it from my dead body. Closer, Scaramshank was whispering. Closer. Podkin gulped and took another step. His eyes were on the ground, on the shadow of the blade as it rose higher. He couldn't reach it yet, but if he was quick, if he timed it just right. From where Paz was standing, she could see her brother walking slowly to his death. His head was low, his eyes on the ground, and the sword of Scaramshank was about to come slicing down. She couldn't bear to watch, but also couldn't tear her eyes away. Should she run and drag him back? Should she be brave? Should she brave the Gorm spears that would pierce her body if she did? Down came the sword, whistling through the air. Podkin stared at the grass before his feet, as if waiting for something, for just the right moment. And then, as the blade's edge was about to touch the fur on his head, he vanished.
Ooh, scary.
Camera lady was laughing at me for a while there. Where's he gone? What about the others? Because if Moonfire worked, will the others follow him? Tomorrow, if my camera lady lets me, I will try and finish the chapter. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5 pages left.
What?
Dawn, don't read ahead.
Who?